Hi, I'm Delusion Dispeller, and I'm back again to tell you a little bit more about Dr. George Simon's viewpoints on aggressive, aggressive manipulators, I guess you could say, aggressive characters, aggressive personalities, which I call narcissists, many of them. Okay, in his view, Dr. Simon says that narcissists don't mind people knowing what they're all about. Yet, predators, actual predatory narcissists, or just psychopaths, sociopaths, whatever, use covert means, like sneaky means, in order to victimize you, because they don't want you to know what's coming your way. So if you were with somebody and you just didn't see it coming your way, then that's probably a predator, not just a simple narcissist, because a narcissist doesn't care if you know that they're grandiose or they lack empathy or whatever. A predator or a psychopath or a sociopath cares that you know, so they keep it hidden. They don't tell anybody. They sneak around and they pounce when you least expect that. His stance, Dr. Simon's stance, is that predatory people are actually in a battle mode to convince you to agree with them, surrender, and view things like they want you to, in order to allow them to manipulate you. When you back down and you start to give in to them, they have learned that they've gained success and power over you from their manipulations. You may even start to believe that the things that happened were your fault, just as they tried to convince you of it. Narcissists do this, but I think also psychopaths do that as well. I have always shared, based on my training and research, that narcissists use defense mechanisms to protect their inner selves from surfacing, selves that hold shame and hatred and inferiority. Dr. Simon states, and I'm very inclined to agree with him, that narcissists actually are in a combative mode, knowing exactly what they're doing. Up until this point, I was convinced that narcissists were simply products of their own environment. Dr. Simon takes more of a nature type of viewpoint on this. I guess I was thinking of it kind of half and half, nature and nurture. Not only how you were born with biological predispositions to be a certain way, but also how you were raised. I still kind of hold to that, but I do see his point that narcissists are basically the way they are because it works for them. In your unconscious mind, when you are under a narcissist attack, you drop your defenses, but you still believe that that narcissist or that predator is doing what he's doing or she's doing because they need to be pitied. They were poor victims of circumstance, and they're protecting themselves from surfacing. They're behaving like a victim does. Oh, these poor people were so abused as children. The interesting thing is, and I've read this more than just with Dr. Simon's information, I have read that if this was true, if a type of victim was simply somebody that was sexually abused or abused in general, then that would stand to reason that victims are always from sexual abuse. So a sexually abused person would always turn out to be this mean person to other people, but that's just not the case. So that can't be possible. Basically, an abuser is simply an abuser because he or she wants to be an abuser. It has nothing to do with how they were, well, it has a little bit to do with how they were brought up, but that is not the full reason of why they do what they do. They do it because it works, because people give into it, people are often deceived by it, and usually they call us neurotics, people that tend to become victims of these type of predators, because we have a problem believing that somebody can be like this. So we are considered neurotic. I'll explain that later. It's not an insult, I promise you. So you drop your defenses because you think that he can't help himself or she can't help herself. The narcissist is actually on the offensive. Rather than trying to protect themselves, they're trying to attack you purposely because they simply want you to do what they want you to do. They want you to believe like they do and come over to their side and their way of thinking, their viewpoint. Period. Stay tuned. A little bit more on part 3.